Okay, so it's 6:10 on the 30th, which is Friday. I can't even I just can't even get over the third. And I just got a cup of tea, but I had so many things I want to talk about. It's like it's flooding my brain that I had to start. So hold on. So 6:10 on Friday the 30th, which just is wild. January's done. Tomorrow's the last day, and then we're right into February, which gets us closer to this uh what is it, fire horse. So okay, let me see. The different things I wanted to start with. Okay, one of the things I wanted to say, was on Art or Max. And where I was saying, he was drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking water. He's still drinking and drinking and drinking water, but now I look at it different. It's because he can't swallow it. And he turns it into slobber water. All the waters. It's so irritating because I got to go fucking buy water. I'm already fucking almost out of water again. It's like, God damn it. So, anyways, it's just, because this is an odd thing. And so if you're watching for odd things with your animals and they're like drinking and drinking, and then I was like, man, could he have something wrong with his kidneys? He didn't seem to be diabetic because the diabetes, they'll pee and pee. That's what Morty did. He would drink and then he would pee like an ocean, and then drink and drink and drink and then go pee. And then it just was this constant thing. So, so I didn't think it was that, but I did think, maybe he's got kidney problems or something. But anyway, so he was drinking and drinking and drinking because he couldn't swallow it. So, something to be aware of. Because then it got worse and worse and worse. He couldn't swallow his drool, and then he couldn't swallow his food, and it's been going for weeks. So, anyways, and then hold on. I'll drink more while it's warm. Oh, dang it! I bet you I forgot a handkerchief too. Search the handkerchief. My nose is running nonstop. I think I have one in my pocket. Yay. Plus, I get green on my mouth sometimes when I'm drinking this stuff. So, it's handy for that, too. Okay. So, anyways, I'm surrounded by dogs. So, I sit in this awkward position. I gotta get a new one of these, I swear. There goes one of them. Which she started her training yesterday. Oh my gosh, this is like a totally different dog. I can't even believe it. I'm so happy. God, I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, I wasn't even expecting that greater results the first time. And it's been, oh my God, spectacular. So I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad I invested money into it, even though it seems like a lot. But there's a huge difference. And one of the things is I put the prong collar on. And if I would have done it by myself, I wouldn't have stuck with it. And he said, yeah, it's hard to watch the first. Most people like freak out because the dog starts freaking out because it's got something around it and it can't be wild. And so it's used to being wild and jumping around doing whatever it wants, and all of a sudden it's got this tug. And so it doesn't like it and wants it off, and it goes crazy. And so she was just going crazy. She was throwing herself around, and he's just like waiting patiently. He's like, she'll figure it out. Just wait a second. And I'm just like, oh God, this is stressful. And so then she did, and she sat down and calmed down. He said, yeah, then once they figure it out, then they're like, oh, so if I don't throw myself around, it doesn't bother me at all. And so he says it gets them to start thinking, because then they have to think for them. You can't just be impulse driven. And so they have to think. And so then she's very unsettled right now. She doesn't know where she wants to lay. So she's just going to lay right on Max, or right on Archie's head. Jeez. So anyways, he said, after, she calmed down, I was like, oh God, that was intense. And he goes, yeah, it always is. When you first put it on, they go crazy. He said, it's way worse. He said, you ought to see German Shepherds. He said, they start screaming like they're being killed. He said it's totally horrible, especially if you're at a park. Everybody starts looking at you. The people who own the thing starts freaking. They start freaking out, and it's difficult to see in the first because you think the dog's being hurt, but there's really, I mean, there's nothing, there's no like blood dripping or anything. It's just something that keeps pressing them so that they are uncomfortable. And so it gets them to calm down and stop. And it totally did. And she was totally listening to all of the things. She's already, well, I had her pretty good with sit. But now she gently takes the food. She, you know, when she's getting, when she's doing a reward, she gently takes it. She could heel, sit, lay, stop jumping up on you. I was like, and so it was all these things really quick. And he was like, she catches on really quick. He said, I'm sure she's going to be great before we even finish the first 4 weeks. And which already is such an improvement. And he gave me some more hints about feeding her in the crate, making sure to create a safe space for her. And so he said, like, give her TREATs in there. And so she has it to herself. She doesn't feel guarded, like she's got, and he said, eventually they'll start being like, oh, this is my happy place. This is my safe space. I'm going to just go in here and chill, because they got to learn how to regulate themselves. And right now she's just been driven on impulse and her size, just, you know, and she's been in control. And so when she went calm, he said, well, he told me to keep this thing on all the time. I took it off when she went to sleep last night because I kept thinking, oh, I couldn't even sleep with those curlers on. That'd be rough. So I took it off, and then I put it back on. But he said, keep it on, because throughout this time, it you tie a little tie on it. And then so as soon as she starts doing something, you just do a correct. All you do is you just do a little like a little, not like a hard yank, but it's a little like reminder. And then right away she sits down. And so then but that's what would be really good. So if she starts going crazy on one of the other dogs, that will be a quick, easy way to, because before it's like I'm grabbing her by the back of the neck, trying to pull her off. Stella's over her barking, like it's complete chaos. So anyways, now I feel like, but see, I wouldn't have just stuck with it if it was just me and doing it off the TV. And I don't even know what some of the TV ones say, but I know that when I went to do the training in Spokane on Stella and on Lucy, that they also use prong collars. And then some even go to the point of using shock collars like I was talking about, but she's not gonna, she's really obedient on just this little thing, which just, he was explaining it to me as just like a reminder to them to listen. It shows that they just can't control a situation. There's a bunch of things. So anyways, it's really effective. And at first it was bothering, like she was itching it, like trying to scratch it. She was trying to get it off, getting the little thing and trying to chew it off and stuff. But otherwise, I just like, let's put your necklace on. And then she, it just doesn't really seem like it bothers her. But then it is quick, where she is, if she's doing something naughty, you just do that. And then right away, she just sits down. Like, I couldn't believe how far we came yesterday. So I feel so much better, because I was like exhausted. By the time he even got here, she'd been going crazy all morning, jumping all over me, jumping all over everybody, and just going nuts. And I was just like, oh my God, she is so hard to even like. And she's so, she exhausts me. I have no freaking, I feel like a balloon that has been deflated. I told him when he got here, I said, she just sucks the energy out of me. He said, probably out of the other dogs too. And I said, yes, she just like rules the world. And so it was just like so quick that all of a sudden it was like, oh, so she calmed down, and now she's like, she's not trying to rule the roost. She's just way different. It's like a totally different dog, really. So anyways, I'm pleased so far. And he's going to come here again. It was really good because we have so much open space for training. So we're going to, he's going to come here again. he might come here for the next couple, and then maybe we'll go to a park or something and see how she does there with all the different dogs and excitement. But anyways, it was going good. So I wanted to talk about those things. Oh, my weird dream. I want to see if I can remember because it was a really long and weird. God, it was so weird. I can't even. Oh, man. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought, oh, I'll remember this. And now I can't. I remember I was going to go back to my mom's and live in the garage. And this dream, it was weird. It was so weird how real these dreams are. Hold on. But so yesterday, I'm sure it was yesterday, when I was talking about, what's to come. And I said, it wouldn't surprise me if there is a sickness. There's some big sickness coming. And so, it was just something that I said. Well, what do you think I saw this morning? So, and it was on the 26th. So yesterday was the 29th. So 3 days before this, that whoever, these agencies that want to warn us or whatever, said, oh yeah, we got a new one. And there's no cure. You're a goner on this one. And the guy who I saw talking about it, so he was showing all these reports and headlines and stuff like that. And so it's called something like the knee. I was trying to get it into my mind, like Neasol or something. And, but where it comes from is bats, of course. So what do we had? The monkey, the chickens. Now we got the bats. Well, we had the mice sickness. Like we've got all these fucking. So this is a bat sickness now, and it's deadly. And they've been dealing with it in other places, but now it's gone big, and so there's no hope. There's no cure. There's nothing, and it's becoming a huge outbreak. And then he went back a few years and was showing that before they even had come up with this, that they were already looking for some of these for it. So if I was understanding him right, it was like, how are they coming up with something for it before they've even discovered it? Which I think that has kind of been a regular thing. I'm pretty sure that was the same thing that people were discovering on the last one that we got hit with. It was like, oh, so you haven't even figured it out yet, but you're already doing studies on this for it. It's like, how does that make sense? And so I think it's the same kind of thing. But anyways, so be prepared. Because there's probably new. Oh, and that show. I watched a couple more episodes. Okay, so this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say like there's propaganda and stuff in the show. So it was fucking some of this stuff. Some of it is like it tears you up because it's so freaking sad. But also you can look at it as like, well, it gives people more awareness. But it's not fucking tearing you up, which they want to keep us sad. And then and stressful. And I was thinking maybe I'll just stop watching it. But then you start liking the characters. It's like, well, when what's going to happen to this character now? Because this is supposed to be one day. I'm on episode 9, I think. And this is one day in this ER in Pittsburgh or something. Hold on. So it is there's a whole bunch of different propagandas in that, but this one was just so obvious, and I just saw it last night. So the waiting room is jam-packed, and people are having to sit out there for 8 hours. They're pissed. The main doctor, as it's also a teaching hospital, so the main doctor, who keeps having flashbacks to the sickness of 2020, and then he keeps arguing with I don't even know what you call him, the headmaster of the hospital, the ruler, And they're like corporate owned, basically. They're all about numbers and money. And so he keeps arguing with them. And she's arguing, telling him that they need to pick up the pace in the ER. They need to do this, they need to do that. And he goes, well, since, we have half our patients down here because there's no beds upstairs, why don't you get some beds? Oh, well, I can't do that. He's like, hire some people. You've got all these things, but they won't hire enough nurses. They won't put the money into it. And then they just blame whoever. So at this point, they're blaming the ER. And so, and the ER is calling her out. And I know, I worked in I know. Yeah. They say they don't have beds. And then they leave patients down there. And then you're having to take care of the patients. It should be on the floor. And so it's a whole fucking thing. And so I know that's true. And then, but in this scene, there was, so people are out in the waiting room, a fight breaks out, and it's a fight between two women. And one of them, it wants the other one to put their kid who's coughing in a covering of their face. And so she's freaking out. Well, the woman who has the kid is yelling and screaming at her and saying, he has allergies. And so he doesn't need anything on. He's not catching. The other lady is like, I don't care. He's been coughing and all this. Get this on him and stuff. So showing like the extreme division that we got going, which is true. We all know that's true. And we know when it started, when they started doing this nonsense. So, and different people's names are thrown out there. And to kind of, I don't know, to wear you into the conspiracy and make the lady who's anti look like a nutcase. And the other lady is just trying to look out for help. And it's a simple thing. And so the lady who doesn't want to use one, she pops this lady right in the freaking face and knocks a tooth out into her hand. So now she's got a tooth out. The one lady's got her tooth out, and the other lady's got the tooth in her knuckle. And so they take them both back in the back. So then they're screaming back and forth at each other. And the one lady's sitting there saying, oh, why don't you go put some soy in your almond latte and all this weird stuff, trying to, it's just like total propaganda, like referring like, soy boys and all this stuff. So, and the other lady is in there, that makes no sense. And, so then they have to get the tooth out of the lady's hand so that they can put it back into the lady's mouth, and they're going to glue it in or something. And then they go in to check the lady, and then they start saying bites are really bad, especially human bites are really bad. And they've got a lot of gunk, a lot of crap in our mouth. And then it goes in and gets in your blood. And they said, we got to check, because if it's in your bone, if it hit into the bone, you're going to have to go get surgery. And so they're getting the tooth out, and then he does some kind of saline thing, and the saline comes up through. So they're like, okay, well, now you got to go get surgery. And so then the lady who has to get surgery starts blaming the other lady. And the other lady's like, you assaulted me. And so then, to me, it's just like to make this lady look crazier and crazier and crazier. And then, like it's trying to choose sides in the show. It's trying to make a point. And then, which, people who are anti, I mean, there's a lot of reason why we are. And this is one thing too, is I worked in a bunch of different medical and hospitals and stuff. And you have to go do these classes. And I've talked about this long ago. And the classes are on the different kinds, all the different kinds and what they're used for and stuff. So that's why I knew that what they were saying wasn't what we were taught. And so I was like, this doesn't make any sense why they're telling people to, throw one of those on. And then knowing that that's not good to just keep breathing your and then you got your spit and stuff going into this thing and you just keep breathing. It's like rebreathing the same funk. I was like, that's not good. And then it's closing off getting fresh air. And so it's you've got this stagnation. And so there was a lot of things, they were telling people go wear this for fucking 8, 10, 12 hours while you're working. It's like, this is not healthy. This is not right. Like, what in the world? And so I knew that just from my background and the education at the places. And so so then in the show, the guy's like, okay, well, you're going to have to go get surgery. I'm going to go call and tell them that you're coming down. Which, by the way, our surgeons wear these in surgery to protect people. So, since you are anti, would you prefer them not to wear one? And so then she's sitting there like, well, and he's like, well, I mean, it's up to you. If you don't want them to wear one, we'll tell them not to. But, here in this facility, we believe in protection of whatever the hell it was. And so then she's like, yes, tell them to wear one. I was like, oh my God, see, this is propaganda right here. This is some fucking bullshit, man. They're trying to lead us how to look at things, and then they're making sure, like, oh, trust your medical. Trust them. They know. It's like, oh, fuck off. I was there. I was taught by them, and they taught something different. They're hypocrites. It's like bullshit. And so, anyways, that is that. And so now if they're, but I still see people wearing them. I mean, there's still people wearing them all over the place. It's always been, ever since. It's like, it's wacky. And one of the ladies, when I used to go to the food bank over at my old place, and there's the one lady who always had it on, and it looked like fucking dingy, man. It looked all dingy. And she always had it on, and she just was looking worse and worse and worse and worse all the time. And it's like, dude, you got to get fresh air, even though, like, how fresh is it? Which, by the way, a guy found out because his daughter was having headaches and headaches and headaches. So he did a test on different, stuff you brush with. And it ends up, he had just bought Tom's, thinking it was a better choice. And so they had just started 2 weeks ago. And then she started getting all these headaches. So I don't know what led him to decide to do these certain tests for LEAD. And it ends up that, like, the other ones didn't have it, but old Tom's, he's full of it. And so this guy was pissed too. So anyways, that whole thing, I saw another person who was really pissed over that they had been a soccer fan since they were a kid and stuff, and they wanted to get a couple tickets to the World Cup. And so they ordered 2 World Cup tickets on the online, and they charged them for 5. So then she started trying to argue with them, and then they wouldn't do anything. And it was almost $10,000 for these 5 tickets. And so then she's trying to go through her bank, which is this chasing your fucking, chase their integrity. They don't have any. So so she's trying to file a claim and stuff like that. It's just going nowhere, nowhere, nowhere. And so now the place has not sent her any tickets, and they told her that they refunded the money on December 3rd, and she never was. So yeah, it's some shenanigans. And so yeah, buyer beware. All this shit, buyer beware, man. They can bend you over at any point in time. Carry your Vaseline, because this is insane. So, anyways, so the new sickness that they could be hitting us with, which another weird thing is so in these storms, I saw a guy talking about, there was all these people online talking about that there was zombies in the snow. They were just walking around out when it was snowing and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know if there really is some weird thing going on, or if just people are becoming more zombie. People are getting more and more kooky all the time. Some of the stuff you see people doing now, it's just like, what? There was a lady in a store and she just kept screaming and screaming and screaming at the people. And then they're going to call the cops. And she just, it's the wildest thing. It's like, people are losing their minds, man. They got no control over their emotions, nothing. And so, what was I going to say? So the store, the people, oh, the zombies. So yeah, I don't know if it's just the people are becoming more zombified. He said one of the places they said they had on coats. He said, well, that's weird. Why would a zombie go put on a coat? And then that made me think, well, I wonder if there's just people out there just walking around that are just like so out of it. They're just walking around and don't know, they look all zombified or something. But then I also heard somebody talking about that they were going to hit it. If you ever watched Game of Thrones, and it had to do with the one guy, he had to protect the wall, which I think is the ice wall, and there was these beings on the other side, and they were trying to get over, and they were like the dead, and they rolled, and they were real white skinned with bright blue eyes, and so it's this war with them. And then heard somebody talking about that there was something that was going to happen, where I think they're called the the White Walkers, maybe is what they're called, and that they were going to do something to bring the White Walkers out. I have no idea. I don't know if they are aliens. I don't know if these zombie people are some kind of aliens or multi-dimensional beings, or maybe a lower vibration. I don't know. There's just, there's no telling. There's no telling anything. Anything I hear nowadays is just like, could happen. I wouldn't put it past them. Anything could happen. So, and when you're speaking of, things happening, then, well, I'll talk about that one in a second. Let me just finish this other one because, so Nashville is in this disaster and no power. I saw one girl talking about like how cold it is in their house. There's no place you can't cook your own food, which I've said for a long time. If you're going to be prepared, you got to be prepared to have food to eat that you don't need to cook. And so that's important. And so a lot of people, are not prepared at all for all this stuff. So this girl, she was saying that they had gone out, her and her husband had gone out walking, and they had to walk miles to go find a restaurant that was open to eat at. And then the restaurants are all packed full, because everybody's doing the same thing, trying to go and get food out at restaurants and stuff, which, don't even, that to me is a hard plan, because how many people are going to get up and go to work when they don't even have showers? They have no power and stuff like that. And then how are these restaurants having power? I guess through generators, that they are on generators, which, okay, I still got to go to this for a second because the generator brought it up again. But so they're already in a disaster, and trees are down. Like it's a mess. It's a big mess. Like a horrible storm has come in and destroyed the place, and then the people have no power, and then there's parts of Louisiana too that are in a big disaster, with the ice and stuff. But now, this weekend, another storm is coming in. It's supposed to be even worse than the last storm or something. So another huge storm is coming in to hit the same places. And there's something about Alabama. And I don't know if it's supposed to be hit really hard or if it is already hit and it's going to be hit again. Because you just have to run across these different people talking about what's going on in their cities to see, because it's not like we're being, well, I don't know, I don't watch the news, but as far as I understand, they don't tell us the truth and on what's actually happening through all this. Like, supposedly they hadn't said anything about what was going on in Italy. I don't think that they just don't talk about things that they should talk about, and then they talk about fucking bullshit that we don't give a fuck. They focus on this pretty guy. And so good is the girl, pretty is the boy. And which somebody was talking about, well, isn't that a little funny for names and stuff? So and then they changed his picture so he looked more handsome to give you more, oh, look it. And then they tried to change the whole thing about him because, you know, he's going down to PROTEST with WAOPON. And he is, I mean, so you got trouble on your mind. Like, what are you doing? Why you packing, dude? And so and now there's all this stuff coming out of what his harassment, and you know, he like stalking these ICEs and going and harassing and stuff like that. So he's not just some innocent guy just walking down the street and the ICE goes crazy and just goes over and takes him out for no reason. It's like, no, it's like, besides the fact that I don't even think some of these people are really taken out. I was like, I don't even think Charlie is. I think it's a big fucking show. And it's to show us something. So it depends on what you see. It's an individual kind of thing. It's through your perception. It's through your perspective. What do you see? How does it make you feel? And so, and it's not going to be the same for us all. It's going to be different for all of us. So then, so we got that going. And then, there's something big about that place too happening, and something with Tim. I don't remember what it was. But something. Oh no, these people need to start getting in trouble for this bullshit. And so anyway, in news people do. Like all the fucking propaganda, all the mind control by misleading people. And so so that whole shenanigans, it just keeps getting more and more people talking about it. So like the word is spreading over nonsense. And then even if you, so if it's like if you're on TikTok and then all these people keep talking about it and you believe something different and you just keep running across these videos, it's going to keep edging in. It's going to keep, you know, like a woodpecker pecking at your mind to try and open it so that you can see something that you weren't seeing before. So it depends on how resistant people are. And that to me is based a lot on their biases, which I don't remember if I already talked about this. Something with the religion. I think I already did say something about that they were, but I was seeing some more stuff. Like there's people poking holes in everything. Like there's just people poking holes in everything. And so I think any of the people who believe one side, and there keeps being more and more people talking about something from a different perspective, eventually it's going to get them to start opening their minds and thinking more broad, or, you know, just looking in other directions. But definitely it's, you know, people's biases that restrict how they look. And I think that's something, you know, where people really got to be honest with themselves, you know, because definitely, I mean, I'm sitting there listening to some people, and, you know, there can be certain people that will come across the thing and I'll think, do you really have anything valuable to say? And I have to like push myself sometimes to listen in order to see, you know, to not just be like judgmental like that and generalize, you know, just because you have got, you know, 20 piercings in your face and your hair is blue and you look crazy makeup and whacked out. That doesn't mean you don't have anything to, you know, productive to talk about. You may really have good things, but which I have found to be true. But we all have, you know, different biases of where we devalue somebody's opinion or something, their perspective. And so, you know, that's a big thing going on, which, oh, there's a new thing now on the girl, the girl who, you know, the teacher. There's more on that. And they still haven't apparently released what they have found. The school said, well, they don't really have time to investigate because they've got a teacher shortage. It's so absurd, man. It's like, well, isn't that the police job? Like, shouldn't they be investigating? Isn't that what their job is? And don't they get, like, so anyways, that girl who went and this teacher would stay after and tutor people on Tuesdays, and she knew that, I guess, and so she shows up, and then she psychos him, and then but she just does it once, and then she does herself once, and so he's in the hospital or something. I don't know where he was wounded, and so I don't know where she's at. I don't know if she's being held, if she's in the hospital too. I don't know. But now what has come out on her is not only was she obsessed with teacher-student relationships and really wanting to have one, was she's also now a girl. It was like, when I saw her, I was like, man, that is a skinny girl. I mean, like, very straight, not very, curvy at all. And but I mean, there's, not every girl is. I mean, I wasn't. So she has a certain look, and all of her videos were all just like showing her outfits and stuff, and she'd do her hair to match her outfit. And then the only thing was, I'd said before, she's got this really weird makeup. Just her makeup really weird. And so anyways, then I had seen one of her videos though where she was talking about her rich girl Christmas haul or something. She was going to show all, what rich girls get for Christmas. And so I was like, okay, so she obviously is a rich kid. And but now, yeah, she was born a boy named Logan, and Logan has had some stints in the mental health facilities, and he also has got other charges on him, but it's under that name. And so I don't know when, I don't even know if she's fully transitioned. Like, I don't know, I mean, if she comes from a rich family, she could have, like, who knows, man? Who knows? This stuff just gets weirder and weirder. But so the name she goes by now, when people are looking up, they don't find all this stuff. You got to know who she was. And so somebody was reporting on it on Facebook and showing. And so, yeah, she was living as a little boy for a while. And then she decided to become a little girl at some point. But I think it might have been more towards her teenage years or something. And because whatever, she's got these charges because she's got some mental health problems. So who knows what all the story is, but just some of these stories just get weirder and weirder and weirder. So anyways, that whole thing just gets weirder and weirder every time I hear somebody talking about it. Then so this one though was something that I heard today. And this is because at first there was the whole thing about supposedly that there was a bag of parts that were thrown at the hospital. And then some people say, oh, that's not true, that was made up. But who knows? And there's a big part of this show about, the value of donation. What a blessing. They even do what do they call it? It's like this parade for these people. It's something walk. It's got a word. And I've seen where they keep having these online. I keep seeing these. And this kid was FENT OD, which now, I mean, even knowing what that one doctor said, is like that the death of this thing that we use in our brain or in our head, I don't say the word anyway, that it doesn't die. It can have issues, but And then, that also goes with this whole thing with none of this is real. You got to let whatever gets injured heal. And you don't need this thing to be alive, because you are what is alive, and you don't even need your body. So the um so they have that already came out, that's a made up diagnosis that they just created because it was easy access to parts. And so and that's been being thrown around a lot, especially with the blue, the FENT coming into our reality. And so many people, and these were college kids who had taken some, they've been up all night studying, or something. And so then they wanted to go to sleep. So somebody went down and got something offline, and like kind of like Valium or something. And but it was really laced. So two of them ended up in the hospital. One of them made it, one of them didn't. And the one that didn't, then he has this, what is this parade thing called? I can't think of what it's called, but it's a thing. And so everybody lines up. Everybody, the whole hospital comes down and lines up so that they can go out. And, I think it's all called honor. I think it's called an honor ceremony or something. So then they take him, to wheel him out, to take him down to, they were taking his whole thing, his whole, the whole thing down in the ambulance to take him wherever he was going. So I don't know where, if they choose a place and then they say everybody who wants these parts has to be here, and then all these different people go there. Which, to me, there is something more weird about the whole thing. It's like they want to draw us in, so then they want us to be desperate for parts. But there's way more, it's way bigger than that. It's way bigger. This is not just about us needing them. This is way bigger than that. And it's got to be something about like the vamps or something and what they need. Something. But also, there's a whole thing that's come out about, the real. And the little strip that they, have been enslaved, that they use them for, parts. And then also, there's over here where we send parts. So I don't know. There's something weird about. And then also, don't forget old Finkelstein. Him sitting there saying, they take these things that they need, and then they send the leftovers over for us to grind up in our sausages and stuff. So, who knows? Who knows what these beings are? Who knows how old they are? I think they are in cahoots with the vamps. I don't know what these people are that call themselves the Zionists, but I think they're in cahoots with the vamps. I think that there's something, these are old beings that are in charge of us. And it seems that the one side is really over a lot of stuff with the financial. And I don't know. It's very weird. The whole thing is very weird because all these people, that are considered, blue, but not in the, that, more in the, with a J. So the ones that we're not allowed to speak of, or that makes us an anti. And so those ones are in charge everywhere. I mean, they're in charge of everything. Like, they're the CEOs, they're the bankers, they're the jewelers, they're like all over the place. And so, which there was a clip yesterday also of Oprah, an old Oprah show. So it was before she lost weight even. And some Blue Jay, was on it. And they were talking about that people think that they are just this, sweet religious family. But what they're really doing behind closed doors is worshiping Satan. And what they've been really doing is doing a lot of ritualistic sacrifice. And she was even involved, even as a child. And she said that what they, Oprah's asking her and stuff, and she said the people in their family, there's a lot of heavy set women, and so they can be with child and nobody knows, and then once the child comes out, well, here we have one candidate for our sacrifice. So anyways, they provide their own in some cases. This was back, I guess it seems like it was kind of in the 80s. I mean, they go further than that now that your kid's just as good as theirs. Who knows? Like, maybe they become sterile or something. Maybe they all lost weight and they couldn't hide it anymore. I don't fucking know. It's all weird shit. So, anyways, definitely weird shit on this whole thing. But now in Houston, so there was a building apparently, and there was a generator that kept going and going and going. So they went in to investigate why this building had this generator going all the time. And so they go in and investigate, and what they found was, I think it was 125 healthy, the things that pump in our chest. That permeates love. So they found 125 of them, and ready to go. And there's of course, these people that happen to be the problem up in Minnesota that are from the all who I'm talking about, who Tim just happens to love. Somebody who's busted, who is a part of it, is from that place. And so when I was listening to that, it was just like a light bulb. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, that is another reason. Because remember I had said about that they want these people, these illegal people, because, it's perfect slave. They don't have any rights or anything. So, but then when I heard that, then I was like, oh, it's because they're not traceable. So you get them over here. That's a fucking easy target. That is dead man walking, man. And so how many of these people, they come over here looking for a better life, and what do you find is, your heart in a bag. Generator keeping it going, keeping it fresh. So and then I was like, oh my God. So they don't just want to use them for work and labor in a disguise for laundry problems, but they also want to use them because it's easy target for parts. So I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. And the people who really push to keep me here, and I've said this is a bigger problem for years. I've been saying this is a bigger problem than the traffic situation. People are all so concerned about traffic and having all drive around all these people, and they have sex with kids, and it's like, dude, it's so much worse than that. Like, Jesus Christ. And when I'm sitting there telling people, I'm not going to support these motherfucking bankers, fucking people eating people and shit. I'm not going to support these people. And people are, oh God, you're so crazy. Just fucking wait and see. So, yeah, I think that some of these people are invested in this industry. And so it's like, yeah, keep them coming, keep them coming. And I mean, just think about how Joe, it wasn't the real Joe, but it was the play, the act out of to show us, how he's so eager to open the gates, let them in. Come on, everybody, come on in. And it's gonna go down to more. I bet you there's gonna be a lot of things that are gonna come out. I bet you, of the so many people that go missing are untraceable because they're here illegally and nobody knows who they are. I mean, there's been a big problem with even on the tribal people, and those girls go missing all the time, and they're not because they don't put them on the census, so they're not traceable, so they just take them all the time, and it's a big problem. And the tribes have tried to speak out and get us to listen and say, this is a problem. And but it takes us, a while to catch up and put all the pieces together and start seeing like, oh yeah, we got big problems. We got big problems. But I think it's more than just and we know that they like, they like the melatonin, that's for sure. And so they like colored skin. And so and then what are, most of the people that are coming over here are, have a tone to them. And so easy pickings and untraceable. And then what is some, poor family in Venezuela or any of these, Latin communities or whatever, and they are trying to call over to our government and say, hey, can you look for my sister? I haven't heard from her in 2 months. And there's like, well, how are we supposed to find her? She's not even over here legally. And then some of the ones that they like, take them out of the places with cells and bars, and then they scoot them over here on planes, and then release them into the streets. Then those people, oh, because it's like a trap, it's like a honey trap. It's like, talking to them in their own, their own languages and stuff, and the people feeling safe, maybe offering jobs and stuff, but really what you end up is in a food factory. So yeah, I think when I heard that one today, it just was like this light bulb went off. I was like, oh shit, that is one of the things that they want to have. All these people, yeah, bring them in, bring them all over. Which I just saw footage. And there's people who live over in the UK, so they can, if they hear this today, then they can confirm in the comments. But I saw footage today, and it's supposed to be London, and you know, uh, I think a lot of English people would be white, but you go over there, and there's all different colors because their families have lived there a long time, and so they're a born national, English person, even though their heritage would not be from there. But so anyways, it was showing like, I don't even know, was it a protest, like was it just a daily thing? But the streets were completely packed, and they were saying it looks more like Ethiopia or something, but it is the streets were totally packed. It was all dark-skinned people, and it was a completely different kind of energy than like when I went to London. And so it was way different. And I would imagine also, I mean, I'm sure there's a part problem there too. It's not just here. I'm sure it's all these different places. And I'm sure these darker toned people that are being lured out of their own home, out of their own safety, out of their own countries, out of having their families around them and stuff, and being lured over for a better life, or being paid to come and be a part of the crowd, or whatever the hell these people are doing, is that they're just easy targets. They're just easy access because it's so easy to have them disappear. Because even in that movie that I've talked about a bunch of times, which was 3 of them, and I said it's more of a docu-series, and it's HOSTL, and it shows like when it's the first one it shows is the place where people stay that's cheap. That's the name of the show. And so when you're young and you're traveling and you're not staying at hotels, you're staying at these other little places that are like, everybody goes and stays at these places, and it's cheap. And I've stayed at it before. And so you go in, And then other people are there. And so people become friendly and talking and hanging out. And you don't realize that some people are being paid to bring you to them. So they're getting money for how many, you know, they're the lure. Just like I was saying, that these people who come over and talk to these people in their language, oh yeah, we got a job for you, come over here, and they lure them. And so those people get paid to do that. And so in this movie, it shows like people from all over the place. So it's not just American kids. I mean, it's German, Russian, all the kids that are going over. Because I wanted to do this so bad, was the Euro, the train, because you buy a Euro pass thing and you can go to all these countries for like the pass lasts like a month or something. When I got mine, I think it was like $80 or something. And it lasts for a month, and you just get to go around to all these countries. And then you stay at these places that are cheap. And you get to go and travel around and see all these places. And that's what I wanted to do when I was young. And I got the passes. I thought I had the travel partner, but he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle being in the places. He couldn't handle not being able to, like, he couldn't handle it. So, anyways, you gotta know your travel partners. So I made the mistake to get the money to marry him. So, anyways, I was a fool. So, anyways, but because when people are out traveling, that they are so hard to trace. It's so easy for people to disappear because you can't. How do you find them? They could be anywhere. And especially back then, I mean, it wasn't, CCTV everywhere. Now they put that up, but it's also at their convenience, I think. But because a black van pulled up and then she disappeared in between those two cars. And we just couldn't see that license plate. We just couldn't see it. So bye-bye, sister. And then people don't realize, like, she's supper. So anyways, but somebody's getting the good parts. That's the thing. Somebody's getting these parts. Like, they're not gathering up 125 of these things and then taking them down to the hospital, or, selling them to people online or something. They're selling them to somebody online, but not to, Joe Blow, who has got heart issues. It's something else, something really nefarious, something really creepy is going on. And so nefarious is the right word, right? That's it's not good. So anyways, yeah, it's not good. And but they showed in that show how easy it is for people to disappear when they're traveling. And so it makes perfect sense, get all these people out of their homes. And that's a big problem too, is like, if you don't, that's the big problem with orphans and stuff. If you don't have a family, then they figure you're easy pickings. Who's gonna notice? Who's gonna say anything? Who's gonna care, as far as they're concerned? And probably, even because these beings are so fucking old, they probably even think, oh well, you came here on purpose, so you came here for me, didn't you? So you can come here to have your own life, did you? So I don't know. There's more, I think, we'll see more and more, but I think that all goes together. I think that is why, more than just the beard for the laundry problem, and more than just, what are they? Like, when it comes down to it, why would all these different governments and all these different countries and stuff be so allowing all these people to come, and then being so supportive, and then trying to create this big civil distress between allowing people to be there, and then not protecting their own citizens and stuff like that, the ones who pay for them to have a job. So it is I think it definitely has to do with the big money comes in the parts. And there's also I saw this on Laura Eisenhower's show, I think. And this was years ago, though. And when she was talking to some of the secret space program people. So there's more than just Corey Good from the secret space program thing. And so one of the guys, he was always talking about that he was always working on Mars. And that I think it is the moon is like a transfer station or something. Like if you think about a whole bunch of different places all have an office there. Like everybody's got an embassy or something at this place or something. It was one of the places. No, I'm not sure if it was that place or if it was I'm not sure. I don't remember what but it was a place where all these different places like meet up, like a marketplace. And he said that you would see them bringing in it's just loads and loads of bodies, and they would be sold to other places, other beings. And I think it's something with but not all reptilians are bad, but there's ones that eat us. Like I've been saying, like we're a part of the food chain. And there was an agreement done, and I think it was with Eisenhower, but some agreement at some point where they made a trade for us for information, for technology, but then they don't share that technology with us. They use it behind our back and then use us as the currency to get it. So there's a lot of stuff that is what's criminal to us, but it's going to end up being these crimes against the humans. And then but it's also it's like against the universal laws. So yeah, that is like it can't keep going on. It's like we're at the end of this cycle, like it played out, and so it's ending, and so it's going to start something new. But yeah, I think that is as he was saying, some of them he said it was like whole, like how we have shipping containers and stuff, and so it was like he said like a whole flatbed. It would just be filled with bodies, but he said that there would be some that would come, and there would still be the people would be alive, and he said because they really prefer eating something alive. They don't like to eat something that's old and dead. They like to eat it while it's fresh. So, and I don't know if you know, I mean, there's something weird for sure about the parts. There's way too much. And this is another weird thing that I saw today. I think Amy sent it to me, but it was during the Cold War that scientists here went to Antarctica, stole, well, you'd think you'd have to steal them because you'd have to do them in to get them. But all these penguins, pineal gland, then send them over to this place that we're speaking of, with it starts with a V, and they just took that leader. So they sent them over there for their scientists to do something, and the people are like, all the evidence is out there, the stuff that they did, but nobody knows why. Why were they doing this? And so, I don't know, man. Well, and they were like in the thing, the person was saying, like, is it something about mind control? Is it something to try and, use it on us? Is it something because they have a weird circadian rhythm there because of how night and day is? It's like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird. I mean, they're even stealing penguin parts. Then I saw a video yesterday of a couple that went to the ice wall. So there's tours to go to the ice wall, and then you have a tourist, and then you go in and climb up there, and you can't go all the way to the top. It's restricted, and you can't go over the top. It's restricted. And you think about, but she did say some things that I do believe, because I do believe the earth is more like a donut, and it's like this energy going like this, but I also believe like our land masses are not just like a big flat thing. They're like just like how, the moon's out all day over here, I don't think it's missing from somewhere else. I think that we are just not how they tell us. It's not the way they say. And I think it's more like if we're in a donut, that we're like layered. So, anyways, she was, her and her husband were talking to the tour guide, and he wouldn't let him go up. And they said, "Have you ever?" And he said, "Yeah." And they said, "What did you see?" And he said, "A lot of stuff." And they said you can hear water running, which supposedly on the other side of the ice is like a tropical paradise where other beings lived and stuff. But I was thinking, like they're making this big thing, like we're restricted from going over there, but they're doing tours. Well, it'd be awfully big wall. So my thought is, do they have a certain place? Because on some of the parts, we know that they have got I mean, we've got people there, scientists and stuff, doing all sorts of studies. And they've even put it out in movies, them digging up these weird things coming out and all sorts of stuff. So, so now they decide like, oh, well, we'll let them go right over here. Nothing's really going on here. Then we'll tell them, hey, look, we let you go to the ice wall. We're not chasing you down and hunting you down, because that part is, because you'd have to go do the whole freaking thing. It's not just like this one little strip. It was good surrounding everything. So, I don't know. Just weird. So now you go on tour to go to the ice wall, but I don't think. And then I've seen other people trying to go like on a boat and zoom over there as fast as they can. And I've seen them being chased by planes and other boats and stuff, saying, no, it's a restricted area. You can't go. So, I don't know. I think it's all fucking shenanigans. It's all a game. Everything's a fucking game. But I do believe, when you get past our ice wall, which I think it takes your vibration to be able to really go into the other dimension. And otherwise, you probably just look out and just see nothing. But if you are match the vibration, you probably look out and you see like a whole world. And so, anyways, but that's the thing, is it's opening our eyes, it's opening our minds so we can see more as we raise our vibration. So there probably is more and more people who would be able to go over there and see, and maybe even cross and get through. And then there's also, I saw somebody, this was like a week or so ago, and they were talking about something with their heritage and stuff. And they were finding out things about their heritage, and that they had found out that their like great grandpa was a Cherokee Indian or something like that. And they had found his diary or something, or his book or something. And because it was two different people I saw. And this one, though, was talking about that, in this diary thing, he was talking about how they had come here from outside of the ice wall. And I've said that for so long. I've said all these different tribes, they're all different explorers, they're all different colonizers, if you want to think about it that way. They're not the original. There's only a specific group that is the original Earthlings, and they started out as an animal, and then the different being, the Anunnaki came and messed with the DNA and stuff. So but I always think that it is the I've said before, what are they? The tribe that is in Australia, the Aborigines. That's who I think. I think that the original people are like Mongolia or something, and I think they're like more Aborigines. But now everything has gone through so much. But I think the original people are more like that, some kind of Mongolian, Mongoloid, Aborigines, something like that. But all these other tribes, even people who are like, say they're in the indigenous, they just been here a long time. I mean, even in this book or whatever that this grandpa had talks about that they came from outside of the ice wall, came here to this territory to, um, and he was Cherokee. So, if, but I've been saying that for a long time. All these different tribes, they're all from different places. Everybody who's from here, except for I think white people. I think that that is something that they did in labs to try and remove the melanin. What did I say earlier? Melatonin. I think I said melatonin when I meant melanin. But the but to try and remove the melanin from the skin and not from the skin, from the blood, from the bean. So remove it. And so I think to like whitewash us, to try and get more control over us. So that's the thing, is like I don't really know that white people are. And the weird thing too is like this whole weird thing that they do about white people, because white people are the minority. There's not, like, I saw somebody talking about, like, there's like 7% of the people in the whole world are white people. And then how would the white people have so much power? And it's the same way how they put the Blue Jays in so much power. So it's manipulated. And so if they want their droids to be the ones in power along with the Blue Jays, because the droids would be easily managed. But when it comes down to it, you got to not focus on the shell and focus on what's inside the nut. And, that's where we live. It's our energy, it's who we are. And that's what we really are. We're not anything about the shell. That's just what we came in to experience. So whatever your shell is doesn't really matter. It matters what your nut is. And that is where you got to figure out, your own nut. You got to discover you. You got to figure out, how nutty am I? And that is that's the core. That's who you really are. This other stuff is all a bullshit illusion. It's a part of the show. It's part of the series. It's this whatever. It's not, it has no real meaning to anything. But yeah, I don't think white people, I don't think that's natural. I think there's something that they did. And I think it probably has something to do with the incubators, the orphan trains. It's something to do with, Dr. Frankenstein and trying to create the perfect droid, because that's a big thing to these people, create these robotic, mindless beings that are easily told what to do. And then they try and keep us from, because we have to have a power, we have to have a battery pack. And so the soul comes in, but then they try and do everything they can to keep you disconnected from your soul. So to keep you in the state of mind of being just a droid. But I was thinking a drone too, but it's like, but we have drones, but it's like a droid, some kind of weird controllable being. And then when you think about how the things are that they've got us controlled under, insecurities and the way they want to keep us, and just little worker bees, little slaves. And so, and then the other people that are of a darker persuasion, they're always out to get them, man. And then they want us to, be like disconnected from it or something, and then put, like make them the police chief, and then disconnect them from what is happening to the other people, because the darker people have really been under attack. That's no joke. That's not like, a maybe or anything. Like, they have been under attack, and they did create, I think, white folk to be disconnected from their realities. And but that's the thing about the awakening, is it's been going on way longer than just, since 2016, 2018, 2019, 2020. It's been going on our whole lives. It's been going on through us just connecting, and connecting to ourselves, connecting to our trauma, connecting to our people in our world. It's just been a reconnecting to ourselves. So anyways, it all has to do with this. And I do think that there was people who were reconnecting since the start, since they were born. And that is a part of this big flipping. It was meant to start like that, and there has been people um supposedly even the awakening started back during WW2, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that was happening that was waking people up, and then they ended up being grandparents and stuff. So this has been going for a long time. It's not just like humans just all of a sudden started waking up in 2020. No, people start becoming more aware and more caring and compassionate towards people all along. But yeah, I think that their intentions were more evil than what we even know. And like all this stuff, who knows if we're really going to get all the disclosure that we're looking for. Um, you just gotta, I don't know, you gotta just learn to trust your instincts and what makes sense to you and what you see out there and what you believe. And it's, good to, gather information or evidence to help you decide what you believe and help you to understand what's going on here. But anyways, that's what I think is going on. And so, and who knows, now we're back to the weekend, and now they're going to be hitting this place with more storms with, Crystal said now they're telling her that they're going to have freezing fog. It's like they keep coming up with all this new stuff. We got the freezing fog, we got the atmospheric river. They've got another big one too that they say all the time. But yeah, we keep getting the freezing fog too. And who knows what, they're actually going to be hitting us with some point, because they're devastating all these other places. So I don't know. Um, who knows, man? I mean, anything can happen at any moment. And you just got to, stay on your toes, pay attention to what's happening in the world, and don't get caught up in it. Don't get caught up in all of the funny business and get all upset about it. You just got to let it go. And you got to trust that everything's going to be okay. Like, this is an illusion. And you're not really going to get hurt. And as soon as you come out of one storyline, you'll just go into another. So there's not really any big concern. Which, okay, I saw another supplement that I wanted to share too. And it was golden seal root. And it is, it's good for, it's got a whole bunch of things about, it helps you be able to stay focused. It helps you with your mood and stuff like that, which a lot of people have got weight gain from the high cortisol because everybody's stressed out. And so people have been having weight loss by taking this stuff because it reduces your stress hormones and stuff. And then another one too, besides that one, is like rhodinum or something like that. I put them onto my subscribe and save to try them out. But it supposedly gives you tons of energy, mental clarity, and so it's just another plant that is good for you, and no side effects, and makes you feel better. But I did see in the comments where somebody was like, well, if you have attention deficit, you gotta watch out if you take it, because it can make you feel more stressed or anxious or something. So I don't know, maybe it has more to get used to, I don't know. But anyways, and if anybody wants to know more about them, I can send you a link to the ones that I found. I just go in, I always look on Amazon and start trying to find, and then read the things, whatever the people say. But somebody was just saying, it might have been Crystal, I don't remember, but somebody was just saying that a lot of the reviews are made up. So if you can even trust them, but I'm always going in and reading those. And so, but anybody wants a link to try this stuff out, I'll send it. Any of the different teas and stuff that I take, I can send links if you want to try any of them out. So anyways, but yeah, I'm always taking all these different supplements. Right now I've got so many different ones. and I would prefer, I swear to God, I would prefer if I just went and get a hungry. Right now though, I've got banana bread. So I'm definitely going to go eat banana bread and drink some tea. But I would really prefer to I wish that my body would just be satisfied with just taking some minerals and some roots and be like good. Because I don't know, all the different things they bother my stomach, like my system. It's like it gets hungry, but then it's like I don't really this stuff is too much for me. So I don't know. My whole body. And right now my body is in so I could not believe how much it was hurting last night. And I know Stella's is too, so I don't know what the hell they've got out here in our frozen fog shit. But yeah, it gives you the allergies, it gives you the joint pains, it's probably gonna give us the whatever Nizol sickness. Like, oh my God, it's just one thing after another. So, and who knows if that's really the sickness they're gonna hit us with, but they're coming in hot with that one now. And of course, it's uncurable. We don't even know what to do. But magically, we're gonna pull out some old, we got the old fraud down here. He's been hard at work for years trying to figure this one out. It's like, okay. They don't want us to be able to have any kind of mathematical skills. That's one thing, is they're trying to do everything they can to get kids to not be able to think for themselves, to not have any kind of rational or developmental or anything. And where they want this world to go is so obvious. So anyways, but where we are going is going to learn how to love ourselves, learn how to love everybody else, and learn how to have the day we want to have. Be able to just work through all the BS they throw at us. So anyways, but we'll see what they throw at us today, and then we will talk about it tomorrow. And also tomorrow, Crystal and I will be going live. So we will be live tomorrow, early afternoon, and we will see what dramas they bring to us, and we'll talk about them in the morning. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.